All right, welcome back to the new SEC podcast. I am Hunter Ziesman here with Randall Ledet Jr. We are talking USF going to Florida, an inter-Florida game. USF, one of three Florida teams to post a pretty big upset last week along with Florida State and Miami. You could argue between them and Florida State who had the more dominant upset, USF beating Boise State down. Now, Florida about to enter a pretty tough SEC stretch ahead. I mean, one of the toughest schedules in the SEC. Thought that maybe this would be an easier game. USF showing they have a little bit of something to them. So this could be a little bit closer. Florida's 18.5-point favorites. Me first look, that might be a little much.
That might be a little much, but I'm going to go out there and say this game could potentially add to the DJ Lagway Heisman story, right? This is another potential tough opponent. USF might crack the rankings here. They may be the G5 team that makes the playoffs. It's a bold prediction off of one game against Boise State, but this could be another tough game on the schedule for Florida that if they're ranked, that's another good ranked win. And so that's not my prediction just yet, but it's a good opponent and a good test for this team compared to Long Island University, or I think I saw Long Island Iced Tea University from last week.
This will be a big change up, and that could work against their favorite, Florida, a little bit. Like if you're USF in this game, you come off of a big win. Now you don't want to be too high on emotion, but you have played some real competition. Florida, I mean, Long Island, I don't even think they got more than 2 first downs in the game.
Yeah.
So you had Lagway come in and play a little bit. He played the first half, and it didn't look to be like the injury from the preseason hindered him at all. So Florida, they didn't do much last game. They didn't have to do much. They won 55-0. But coming into this one, will they be ready to show up for a team like this? USF, I had a couple questions in this game when I was talking about it. Can Florida hold USF to under 17 points? Is that because that's probably what they're going to need to hit this spread? And can Florida score 5 or more touchdowns? Because they're also going to have to score. I mean, 18.5 is pretty reasonable. They're sizable for a competition that some teams have had trouble with USF in the past. Alabama being one of them.
Alabama being one of them, right? And I think I was looking at the USF schedule from last season, and they played Miami, right? The score was 50-15, and Miami had one of the worst defenses in the country last season. USF, there's such a hodgepodge of like, will they show up against good Power 4 competition or will they not? What their highlighting point is Byron Brown. He's been there about 5 years. He's from Raleigh, Hunter's residence, and he's had a seemingly great game last week. 2 rushing touchdowns. He played pretty well in the past, and he kind of commanded some swagger against a strong Boise State team. Phil still had this USF team as the number 1 most talented team in the American Athletic Conference. And I think that pairs well with why they look so good was the 8 returners on offense and the 8 returners on defense, second most in the conference. Mm-hmm. Can they slow down a Jaden Ball and a DJ Lagway? That begs that question. And like you said, can this offense get 17 points?
Yeah. So to talk on Florida's offense and what they can do in this game, I mean, can they score? Absolutely. Like it'll come by way of varied play calling. You outmatch this team. Like one of the most talented rosters, like you mentioned at USF, they have guys there that can play ball. Florida, you have better players. You got a better roster. If you can't, out coach this team and put players in positions to win this game, then I'm not sure Billy Napier's your guy. So I think it comes by way of, some varied play calling, Jaden Ball going off. I like some screen passes here. They weren't successful against Long Island last week, throwing the screen. Really successful with Lagway throwing screen passes last year. Different receiving unit. We talked about that previously. If you outmatch a team physically, vary the play calling, start to wear them down because they can't keep up with you. That's how Florida scores.
I think that's how Florida scores, and you definitely want to see more from some of the passing attack. It's hard to go off of the sample size from last week as a lot of the 2s and 3s were coming into the game, but looking for Michael Sturdivant to get more involved, right? 2 catches last week for 7 yards. For Nell Brown, he had a good game, 3 catches for 79 yards. They're going to face a pretty tough defensive back unit. USF has guys like Deshaun Rucker. He's a dog. He had a half a tackle for loss last week, 11 tackles, 1 pass deflection. And they returned their 2 leading tacklers in Mac Harris and their safety Tavin Ward. There's a lot of continuity where they're going to have to make big plays. I think they, being Florida, to take the lead early establish the line of scrimmage with Jaden Ball, 104 yards last week, and really don't let USF have any like life, right? They're already traveling to the swamp. It's, you know, when Bama played a tough game from an SEC perspective, they were going to Tampa.
Yeah.
This is a little bit different. They're going to the swamp. It's at home. You should expect a full game from Lagway. Just need to win on the trenches. Need to kind of get up early and not let Byron Brown and not let this defense have some key wins where they're getting third down stops. So they're kind of slowing the momentum down on your side of the field.
Yeah, that's a good call out there. Not letting them have opportunities, because USF is one of those teams that can keep things alive. You might think you have them pinned. They had a 37% completion percentage on third down conversion rate over the last 2 years. So not stellar, but when compared to all of college football, I think they're right in the 30s and 40s rank on that. So they can make things happen. They can keep plays alive, keep drives alive. Don't let that happen and get into some sort of dogfight. We saw it both times that Alabama had to play them, where you end up in a close one early. You might be able to pull away at the end, but the last thing that you want is to be in a dogfight, letting a team who's underappreciated in this game start feeling like they have a shot. Do they have a shot? I don't necessarily think that they're going to win this game, but I do think that 18.5 points is a lot. So that's where I call this game that Florida won't be able to cover, but will still win by 14.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. I think USF has a shot in this game. I feel like we've seen a lot of these like Florida, USF, Florida, UCF matchups. I think the only time Florida lost was in that bowl game against UCF, and it was like Emory Jones. Like DJ Lagway is a whole different beast, and this isn't a bowl game. So I like Florida in this game. I'm gonna say 28-14. What's your final prediction?
I got 27-13, Florida, 14 points. They got, I mean, without a doubt in my mind, the hardest remaining schedule in college football coming up. They need this one to not be a dogfight. They need this one to go their way, so that way you can start focusing on every opponent ahead of you who all have a potential shot at beating Florida. This is a big one. So
this is a huge one. And they might have one of the toughest three game stretches coming up here, right? You got LSU, who I think people are trying to debate if they're going to be the number one team or if it should be Ohio State. Then you got Miami, who just took down Notre Dame. Jury's out on how good Notre Dame will be this year, but that's a really key win for week one. Then
both those on the road. Yeah.
Yeah. And both those on the road, mind you. Then you got Texas. Texas has still got a really strong defense, and Arch has a couple tune-up games to get warmed up. The schedule's pretty serious. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely a serious schedule coming up here.
Yeah. We'll see what happens in this one. If you're down in Florida and you're a fan of one of the many Florida teams down there playing this season, let us know what you think. And I'm Hunter Ziesman. We got Randall Adet here. As always, like, follow, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Until next time.